This is the Crystal Chronicles, your Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia podcast, with Erolai, Kreese, and Mark, bringing you all your DissidiaFFOO news and talk. Welcome to Season 4, the LGBT era. Now let's start the show.
Hey everybody, what a night! We have just heard that the Final Fantasy VII Remake has won Best Game at the Gaming Awards. Among Us has just beat Genshin Impact for Best Mobile Game. Sephiroth is coming to Smash. And if you're on the Star Wars front, Disney just announced about 10 Star Wars television series. But most importantly, for our work tonight, Zidane now has his head. I know so many of you, I got letters and emails, text messages concerned about Zidane's head. That's better if I put the light out. Where's my light? Here it is. But Zidane did get his head. He is okay. Thank you for your prayers and thoughts. Arrow, there is an extra Zidane. I don't have to steal that one because I broke his head off. Yeah. Thank you, all of you, the 200 of you who watched that unboxing stream for all my Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia trading arts cards. You can see them right behind me here on the wall. We did open 2 boxes of them. You can go on our YouTube channel and watch me unbox 2 cases of Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia trading arts. But you can kind of look back there and see them lining up against the cabinet there. But we have more important things to talk about, like a new event that's just dropped, and of course everyone's favorite character, Kam'lanaut. Welcome to episode 131 of the Crystal Chronicles, recorded this December 10th, 2020. I am Mark, your host, and I am joined by not one, but 2 of my co-hosts, and you know her and love her. Her name is Arrow. Arrow, how are you doing?
Doing great. I had my birthday about 2 days ago, and thank you so much again, everyone, for birthday wishes that sent them to me. I really appreciated it. And right now, I'm here with my tea that I have that is a Sagittarius themed blend. So, got to rep my zodiac sign. Anyway, I've had a wonderful week, so I'm going to pass it over to the next host.
Happy birthday. And yes, Shaded Mystic, I did decapitate Zidane. You can go watch that on the YouTube video if you missed the live stream. Yes, and I'm also joined by Kreese. Kreese, how are you doing?
I am a little tired today. I had a long lecture day, but I am doing better now that lecture day is over.
And I think as we are streaming as well, we should be getting confirmation of Tidus's burst in Japan. We already got the release of Tidus's LD animations in Japan, and we should get his burst information and thing right here. So there is a lot to talk about tonight. Welcome, everyone. And we are going to do some polls on stream, but we'll wait just a few minutes to talk about a little things first, and then we'll start polling. I'll start polling on stream for that. But before we do, as always, the news of the day, you can always check in the local news. There's not a lot going on in terms of updates, a few things here and there, but there is that beautiful Kam'lanaut costume. I know you all love it. You all want it. You probably already bought it, but don't forget it is there if you would like it. But perhaps more important than costumes is the TCC Challenge. Last week, we introduced you to Centurion's Reign, the Tyrant Raid TCC Challenge for the Lufenia event. All we did is ban lightning and the burst phase. All friends were allowed. Every other character was allowed, but still a very challenging challenge if you did not bring lightning. Certainly not unbeatable, but there is something to say when you take out the main synergy character and you take out the burst element. Infamous Element, speaking of elements, thank you for the subscription. Infamous Elephant. And hey, I did talk about, let me do that first, but let me talk about this. Belial, Meow, Chef Knife, Scott, Listlessette, Homage, Theologica, Clay, Excalibur, Final Asum, Aoden Phoenix, Sipes, Black Unicorn, Quain, another Scott, Phoenix, and CSAM. CSAM's here. I saw Theologica's here. I saw Sipes here. I see Sam's here too. Congratulations, all of you, on the TCC Challenge raid. Go check out the call to arms, DissidiaFFOO.com, to find out what those awesome runs were. Some very creative runs. But yeah, a lot of us are saying, oh man, these Lufenias have been so easy. You remove one character, it becomes a lot more challenging, especially if you remove the burst phase. The idea behind that is, bursts are so hard to get. We want to make sure that every event is beatable without the main synergy and without that burst phase. And that's really what the TCC Challenge right now is all about. So, congratulations. But these beautiful play arts figures, trading arts figures that I unboxed, a whole case of them, we are going to be giving one of those away to all of our subs. Not one to every sub, but we are going to choose one of our subscribers to give the first one away. I have an entire case, mostly unopened. I did unbox all of them, but I have a full set. I got a full set. They're sitting back there on my wall right now, but I have an extra set, and so we're going to give those away throughout, here in the next year. Hopefully, if I can mail them to you, if you get mail from the U.S., I should be able to send it to you without much of an issue. So if you are a sub, you will be entered into the first drawing for one of these trading arts figures. They are Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia minifigures, or action figures, I guess you could call them. The current figures are Squall, Cloud, Tidus, Zidane, Lightning, and mannequin versions of each of them. And again, you can go onto our YouTube channel, The Crystal Chronicles on YouTube, and you can watch me unbox and see all of those figures. They're very, very nice. So please, if you are one of our subs already, you will be entered into that drawing. If you would like to be entered into that drawing, please sub this week or next week, and I will do the drawing before Christmas. And maybe I'll make a little video around Christmas, because we most likely won't be doing a stream on Christmas Eve. Go figure. It's a kind of a busy week in my profession.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, so if you want to sub, I'll remind you a few times here this week and next week, you would be entered automatically into a drawing. And they're really cool. Arrow already claimed my extra Zidane. But there's 9 others that are available to you. Sarathi, thank you for the subscription, and you will be entered into that drawing for one of these play arts figures. But yeah, they're a really cool little thing. So, Sipes 6 minutes in, still loading. So I haven't even tried, and I won't hear for a minute. So before we get to the event where there are draws and things happening, and you can let me know how the other content creators are doing currently as we stream, or what they're doing. If you want to shoot in chat what everybody else is doing, let me know. But before we get to that, we want to get to the event that we just had, which is Kam'lanaut's Lost Chapter, Ambition for Provenance. That brought us Kam'lanaut's rework, level 80, and LD. Of course, you can go to TonberryTroupe.com and see a beautiful write-up and infographic. But Kreese, why don't you tell our listening audience and viewing audience what Kam'lanaut's all about?
Sure. So Kam'lanaut got a small rework with his LD this time around. From what I recall with the rework, he got some additional uses of Esoteric Region. He got additional Brave hits on the base versions of Glassification. And I think on Esoteric Region Plus, he got some additional Brave hits. And the big change is that Adel from his... So basically the way Adel works is that while he has Esoteric Region up, if he gets hit, he inflicts Adel on the target. Adel now lasts for 3 turns instead of 1 turn on the target, which is a pretty big improvement because it means that it'll last a while longer than it used to. So that's nice. Kam'lanaut will actually do some damage. The Addle effect will actually last a while. So those are pretty nice bonuses. I think those are the big ones. Did I miss any of the rework changes beyond those?
I think
Mark, Arrow?
I think that represents the rework. Yes.
Major notable ones, yeah. Okay. Along with that, Kam'lanaut also got an LD ability named Light Blade. He gets 4 uses of this. It is a single target attack that does splash damage to other targets. Big things it does. It immediately moves him into his Desire of Provenance phase, so he gets to skip his Esoteric Region stack building. He can go straight to Desire of Provenance, which is the better version of it. He gets a free ability use on his next turn, so he gets more ability uses, which means he can actually take advantage of Esoteric Region plus his skill 2, which is a very strong ability. He also gets a new framed stat above him called Peerless Hero. While Peerless Hero is active, he gets an attack bonus. He gets increased Brave gain after HP damage, or he gets Brave gain based on HP damage dealt. He increases Party Overflow stolen, and he grants the party Brave regen. So nice bonuses, just worth noting. This means that he provides some party auras. He has a chance to paralyze the paralyzed targets with Glassification. He has the Addle effect that he applies when hit. He still has the issue where if he gets broken, he loses Desire of Provenance, so be careful with that. But he can build up to Desire of Provenance much more quickly thanks to his LD. He has more abilities thanks to getting free ability uses and the LD itself. So he is better off all around. He's still. I don't think anyone's going to consider Kam'lanaut their favorite character. I don't think that's changed much, but he is a better character all around. He has better utility. I don't really have much else to say on him. I skipped him the first time, and I skipped him this time around too. He does what he was doing before much better. He's still mostly a single target beast. He just can protect himself from the breaks much better thanks to his Peerless Hero. He is able to make sure that he's much more likely to avoid the breaks. He's able to deal damage. But yeah, I think that's all there is to it. He's pretty good. He's not going to drive anyone crazy, but I mean, he's there for the synergy bonuses. As I said, the paralyze is nice. There aren't a lot of units that can do the paralyzes. So if you need someone who can paralyze right now, he can do that pretty well. He has pretty much guaranteed 100% uptime on 100% paralyze thanks to his LD now. Instead of that mixed, sometimes chance paralyze, sometimes 100% paralyze. Oh wait, no, sorry, I mixed up. Classification plus is only after breaking, so never mind. I mixed up when he gets a plus or classification plus, but still, he's nice. He's better now. I think that's it. Arrow, what are your thoughts on Kam'lanaut with these changes?
Pretty solid. So they make it sound really complicated in game, but literally he's a build the stacks character, which, you can kind of skip a lot of it now with the LD. And then after that, you just need to tie like the Brave Plus so that you break a target so you can instantly go right into that paralyze. If you really want to count them out, you can technically get like 12, 13 paralyzes. I don't remember the exact number of like LD uses you get. I think it's 4. So yeah, you can get like 13 paralyzes technically off if you're really lucky. But let's just be real, that's not going to happen. But it is really nice knowing you can guarantee that many paralyzes. It's just a fun thing to know. I really think he's kind of like a utility character, utility debuffer. And Addle is very easy to stack with other attack downs now because it lasts for 3 turns. That's very nice. And also he neuters magic attack with that. So any magic damage the bosses are doing, they will do a lot less. And that stacks with the attack down too. So it is very noticeable when you have that on the bosses for the Lost Chapter when they do their magic attacks. I pulled for him because I lack utility characters, and he happened to be the closest character to my birthday this year, and I always pull for the banner character closest to my birthday. So it took about 250 tickets to get everything for. I think he's cool. I like Brave Refund characters, so that helps. And you aren't going to see him get broken really anymore because he just has so much Brave Refund A. And then on top of that, like you're going to probably have Adel on the targets most of the time now, or you can set up so that he won't be broken. You know, you could play him with somebody like Warrior of Light who could give him shields, or Nine, or, you know, just anyone who could take maybe the pressure off of him, but without doing locks, because you want him to be targeted for attacks so that he will, you know, do Adel. Would I say you must pull for this character? By no means, no. We got a lot of, but I have skipped on so many disabled characters. I knew this Lufenia would have given me trouble otherwise. So I'm kind of glad I went through with it in the end. That's my thoughts. Mark?
Yeah, you know, he's probably the least or the most unhyped character we've had in the LDBT era in terms of, you know, nobody was really hot on him. Obviously, he's among the Final Fantasy games. He's from one of the multiplayer games, and one that had a limited run compared to 14. So a little bit less popular in terms of the franchise. But, I think more than that, it has to do with the fact that the debuff throughout the life of Defo, the debuff characters have always gotten kind of a bad rap in terms of you've never really needed a debuff character. You never needed to, shut characters down or do those kind of things. Now, that's changed a little bit in Lufenia. We'll see that again, especially here for this current Lufenia. You do need some debuffs. But, the big damage dealers, the big utility characters, the healers, the brave batteries, the aura bots, I mean, those have kind of always been the big hype characters. Even Rude coming up, right? I think I said this in one of my videos. I get that nobody knows, going into Kam'lanaut, nobody knows what Kam'lanaut does, but so everybody's like, skip Kam'lanaut, nobody needs Kam'lanaut. Most people don't know what Rude does either. But he heals, he must be good, right? So, but so the hype or not hype is kind of ridiculous. The issue that I have is your play style might really enjoy characters like this. He can really shut down the enemy with his magic attack down. He can really shut down the enemy with that consistent paralyze. So, I mean, if that's a style of play that you enjoy, don't just listen to the hype, kind of understand your own style, because your style of play may be different than kind of the mass style, which is just get the synergy characters and stomp them, right? We have all kinds of people in our community. I mean, Arrow is one of them who has creative ways that she plays the game and things that she likes to do in terms of who she likes to build, what characters, how she approaches the game. And so, I really feel bad in a sense. I'm not going to say, you got to pull on Kam'lanaut. No, not at all. But the idea is I'm sure there are some people that would really, really enjoy playing him that are just skipping him because he's so underhyped. I mean, looking at the podcast polls, no one willing to pity the burst on this banner. 5, and this is across 14 servers, 5 people willing to pity his LD, 4 people using gems, 124 using tickets, which is more than I would have thought, and 177 skipping. That's not a lot.
Yeah.
So, and he doesn't work great with Gladio or other. I don't think we said that, but you do kind of want him to get hit because that's how Adel gets on, and so you don't necessarily want people to take hits for him because you really want to rely on that Adel. That really is a big boost to your the damage output of the bosses is huge with that. So.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I think he's an interesting character. I did pull a few tickets on him, and depending on how I do on my Reno, I might go back and try to get him as well. His LD call when he gets it is going to be pretty useful. So he's certainly somebody you're gonna look at. So. Well,
definitely.
Yeah. Any follow up there, Kreese, before we look at the fight?
No, I don't think so. I think we hit the key points there. Kam'lanaut's one of those niche characters that I think got skipped in the spotlight, but we'll see if people make him work. And he's also one of the first LD board characters, which means he will come back sooner rather than later and have another chance to shine. Just keep that in mind.
Well, if you want to approach the challenge quest and you have lightning, you're fine. If you pulled Kam'lanaut, you're fine. Shantoto's also synergy on this, so if you have her LDBT, that's fine. Rydia is purple. I brought Lightning, Shantoto, and Rydia, and that was a joke. My Rydia is like EX only. So, Arrow, you had Kam'lanaut, so I assume you brought him for the challenge quest.
I used the LC team. They were great. I have Shantoto LD, so that made it really, really easy to plan around when to do the paralyzes and everything. My Rydia is purple. My Kam'lanaut had his LD. I didn't struggle at all. It was a once go in and done type of deal.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of Kam'lanaut, Shantoto carry, a lot of Lightning, Shantoto carry, a lot of Lightning, Kam'lanaut carry. I'm trying to see if there's any kind of interesting there's a Lightning EX only Shantoto LDBT Rydia run. Trying to see if there's any other runs on the Call to Arms. Yeah, pretty much everybody uses Lightning. I think most people have Lightning, though. I don't see a single non-Lightning, so this might be a little more challenging than I would give it credit for. There's a Kam'lanaut Shantoto Rydia, but then you had to pull for Kam'lanaut. Oh, here we go. An EX only Lightning, Kam'lanaut EX, and Shantoto LD. So there are a few runs, but yeah, I think a lot of people did pull for these characters for this, but yeah. And Mino is saying in chat that he's not particularly practical Kam'lanaut for some of these upcoming, including Reno's. He's a little bit clunky for a couple of these upcoming ones, which does hurt him in terms of your investment, but he will come back. Well, let's get to the Lufenia. A little interesting. You fight two Proteans. They're kind of dragon-looking things. They have two effects. They have this yellow aura, which you can see because they glow yellow, and that is triggered at 80% of their health, 50% of their health, and 30% of their health. And then they have the Lufenia orb, which comes in at 80% of their health when they fall below 80%. The Lufenia orb is pretty simple. If they get a turn and cannot act, so if they are asleep, if they are paralyzed, HP silence maybe for that as well. I believe Arciela works for this, not for this coming one, but for this one. Then they get plus 15 to their orb. So the orb is fairly easy to manage if you bring Paralyzed, Kam'lanaut, Shantoto, Ragin are all great options. I think I saw Edward, Arciela, so maybe even some Kefkas on here. Cloud. I had to bring two Shantotos. I had to bring Shantoto, friend Shantoto, just to have enough, because you also need to have Paralyze or something similar to deal with these yellow auras. So if you allow the boss to have a turn when they have their yellow aura, they're going to do this big recast ability called Tail Hit Plus, which removes all of your buffs, including Framed, as a big AoE HP attack. If they cannot act on their turn, then they lose that aura. So this is really making sure that they get a turn so that you can increase the orb count, and that they get a turn so you can get them out of the yellow aura at least 3 times. Beyond that, if you can manage those two things, it's not terribly challenging. There is a lot of different variations in terms of who brought who. I brought Lightning. I don't have a burst currently. Lightning LD, Shantoto LD, and maybe Kurasame. Who else did I bring? I think I brought Kurasame, just to do some extra damage there. Oh, Macnol, thank you for that. Macnol is saying Tail Hit Plus is a single target attack, but Arciela and Kefka work if the HP silence stops their actions. If they do a non-HP attack, then the orb won't reset. So that is good. The orb won't reset. Or get the plus 15. It doesn't reset, but gets plus 15 to its counter up to 20. Arrow, I know you approached this, bringing synergy. How did you approach it?
Yeah, I did bring one synergy character. I brought Kam'lanaut. I mean, I pulled for him. I didn't really want to use Chantota for this because I decided to bring Vivi and Rem Duo once more to another Lufenia, and it worked beautifully. You could really control like the glassification pluses with Rem, which was nice because even if I just broke and didn't want to use the glassification right away, that was okay. I could just always swap when I was ready, for example. And I could like always just swap to Vivi when the counter was still really high and let him just go ham with his Doomsday up. So it wound up being pretty quick and simple. I enjoyed the fight a lot. I think the pace of it is a little different than what we've seen in some of the Lufenias. I don't know what else to really say about it. But the worst part is trying to remember noticing the red aura thing with the yellow aura when it's going to do that tail hit plus. Yeah. I died a couple of times because I wasn't paying attention, and that mess just screwed me up so bad because it was never targeting Vivi, of course, you know. So it's always got to be targeting someone else. Other than that, it's permanent content. So if you can't do it now for whatever reason, just come back later. I mean, next month, who's coming? Cloud. He'll help you out with that Lufenia. Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah. Kreese, any thoughts about the Lufenia?
I have not completed it yet. I was actually working on a run while we started recording, so I'm trying to finish it as we discuss the fight. I'll let you know how it goes. I'm currently trying a Gladio Shantotto lightning attempt.
Good luck.
And I accidentally triggered an orb, so I'm trying to see if I can salvage this run.
Yeah, that's not usually good. But we did have a TCC challenge. We banned Kam'lanaut, Lightning, Eldnarsh. Eldnarsh can be used on this as well. And Edward, no burst phase. Currently, the winners, Eodin Phoenix, Theologica, Scott, Academia, Clay, Hallie, Harith, Liz Lizette, Kairi, Tequila, MZ Pro, Excalibur, Ganro, and Slowby. So several new entries or new people I don't recognize. Arrow, you wanted to highlight one of these folks?
Yes, we were going to highlight Kairi's run this week as they used Kefka and Raijin. And who was the third again? Because I don't have the window open, Mark.
Kairi did a Kefka Ramza Raijin run. Yes. So fairly creative run, and no, not the most powerful characters currently in our stable. So it is beatable. That's what we always try to say. One of the reasons this TCC challenge is so good is because you can see, hey, and that was no burst phase, remember? So yeah, I mean there are ways around these fights. We have a really creative community. And I mean, beyond that, there are 100 runs on the Call to Arms, DissidiaFFOO.com, the Call to Arms, and Macno has a great boss guide there. So there's all kinds of different ways that you can approach this fight and every Lufenia so far. We'll see. We have been told that these next three are going to be particularly challenging or particularly restrictive. So we will see what our community does. I have great faith our community is going to do really, really great. Well, with all that said, let's go to, hopefully the lag for pulling is a little bit down as we go to Reno. Yes, Reno is live. Final Fantasy VII's favorite red-headed character, Reno. I'm going to be doing some pulls, but as we do that, Kreese, do you want to run us through who Reno is and what his deal is?
I think everyone knows who Reno is, so I'll discuss his kit and how he works. Reno is a melee attacker, debuffer / damage mitigation type character. The way he works is he does melee attacks, he's lightning element, and he does a lot of debuffs, all frame debuffs, and he specifically works on trying to reduce physical attacks. He has a weird gimmick on delays, where he can delay physical attacks specifically. He can apply a lightning imperil with one of his debuffs that's unique. He can basically shut down Brave and HP damage for a couple turns with his LD, and he can dispel. So he has a lot of different niches with his ways he can debuff, he can do damage mitigation, he can dispel, all with a unique kit. He's also a mix AoE Brave, AoE HP, single target Brave, single target HP character. So let's go through what all of his abilities are and how they work. I need to be clear also up front that while he has a lot of utility, he doesn't bring any party auras. His party utility comes from the fact that he's debuffing and debilitating targets. So while he'll make allies do more damage, because he's reducing enemy defenses, he will not be increasing party attack or party max brave or anything like that. So keep that in mind. So, Reno's first ability, his skill 1 is Electroprod. It's a mixed AoE Brave and single target Brave attack. It deals single target damage with splash damage on top of that. It applies a unique debuff called Numb to all targets that specifically reduces physical attack and physical defense. And if the target uses a physical attack, that target's next action is delayed by 2 turns. So remember, this is a debuff that specifically cripples physical attacking enemies, which means that Reno has a specific niche for dealing with physical attacking enemies. He will not be as effective against magical attacking enemies. His second ability, his skill 2, is Electric Dance. It is a double Brave plus HP attack. It gives him a unique buff, but that's all it does, really. It's just a very strong attack. His EX ability is called EM Triple Shot. It's an AoE Brave plus HP attack that does full damage, and it applies a unique debuff called EM Triple Shot that reduces enemy attack and defense, and also applies lightning resist down. Excuse me, my throat's still sore from lecturing today. And finally, his LD ability is Pyramid. Anyone who's played Final Fantasy VII probably knows what Pyramid is. When he casts it, it's an AoE Brave plus HP attack. It hits all targets. It dispels 1 buff from all targets. And it applies the Pyramid debuff to that target as well. To all targets as well. Pyramid increases Brave damage taken to all targets, and it also reduces all Brave and HP damage to 0 that those targets do. Those targets cannot inflict debuffs as long as Pyramid is active. However, Pyramid is dispelled after the target uses a Brave or HP or debuff inflicting skill. So basically, Pyramid will stay active until that target either does a Brave attack, an HP attack, or a debuff inflicting skill. So it can stay active for a couple turns if the boss tries to just buff itself. But excuse me, as soon as it tries to attack, the boss will lose Pyramid. So basically, it's a way to shut down one specific attack and then it's done. Along with this, Reno basically has some pretty good Brave and HP plus attacks. His additional ability is called Debuff Act Longer Crush, which is a Brave plus HP attack that increases the duration of his inflicted debuffs by 2 turns, and increases his max Brave by 15% for 3 turns. A very simple kit. He just has a couple of unique debuffs that do some pretty unique things. His specialty, as I mentioned, is really shutting down physical attackers, and if you know when dangerous attacks are coming, you use Pyramid to lock them down. To lock down the bosses. That is his specialty. He's pretty simple. He's gonna have his niche. He is tied to the lightning elements, so you gotta be careful of that. I don't think there's really much to say. He's pretty straightforward, all things considered. He has some pretty strong attacks for a skill 2 that has 2 HP dumps. That's pretty nice. He has some decent AoE HP damage. He has some decent single target damage. Nothing really to say. I think his kit's pretty straightforward. Arrow, did I miss anything? Is there anything I forgot to mention? Anything that sticks out to you?
don't know. I didn't really notice anything you missed that was an important, you already hit on important stuff. He's a debuffer. I mean, first and foremost, this is a utility debuffer similar to Kam'lanaut, but what they do, to shut down bosses is kind of different. So I appreciate that. If you've been skipping out like me, all these utility stun characters, you may want to consider pulling for one or two of these guys that we've got right here, because they're here for a reason. We're going to have a lot of bosses where being able to stop them from doing some of their most dangerous actions will be very, very useful. Yeah. But then of course, and we're almost done, thankfully, with all the weird, crazy cleansing crap. I mean, I think we got like only a couple more fights where this is just constantly happening throughout the fight. So I mean, that's to me what you want to think about is you're not going to take them to any fights where that's happening, but you can take them to fights where shutting down an enemy's like damage output in some manner like this is very helpful and gives you a lot of breathing room to just keep wailing on the enemy with your main damage dealer. That's the reason why I feel you pick up debuffers or utility characters of this sort.
Yeah. Yeah, and he does, I mean, he obviously, against bosses that have more physical attacks than magical. I mean, it's interesting we had these two characters back to back. Kam'lanaut does shut down magical damage really well. Reno shuts down physical damage really well. Reno also enables characters that have lightning element, which we have all kinds of them because he has that framed lightning debuff, that lightning imperil debuff that is framed as opposed to just generic, and physical attackers. So you're not going to necessarily want to pair him with, magic attackers as much because the physical attackers like lightning are going to, and Raging, are going to take much more advantage of his ability. Yeah, I'm obviously pulling for him. I'm interested. I like the Turks. I like Final Fantasy VII. I'd pull for Sang and Elena, and who else am I missing in there? All of them.
Sang, Elena. Those are the major ones.
Sang, Elena, Reno Rude. There's somebody else. Which other? The President Shinra, of course. Shinra Junior or Shinra Senior. Yeah, and I'm one of those weird Velt. I'm one of those weird people that like Sturgis Cerberus and yeah. So, but yeah. Again, I'm not sure that you need, because the game hasn't really ever been designed for you needing debuffers, although there's a few of these events where if you haven't picked up any debuffers, you haven't picked up anybody that can paralyze, you haven't picked up anybody, I think for this current one, 3 debuffs. So, this might be the one. I know in Japan, a lot of people struggled with this fight, and because of that, a lot of people pulled for Reno because they didn't have the characters that they needed to do the fight. So Reno was able to help them through this particular Lufenia. I'm not sure that I would ever suggest to anybody that is the way to go. But I don't think he's a bad character. I hope I get his kit. I still would not mind Lightning's Burst, but I don't think I'm going to go out of my way to get it either. So, Kreese, any final thoughts before we kind of preview this Lufenia, which is known to be fairly difficult?
I think Reno seems like a solid character. He's definitely not going to be a necessary one going forward. I don't remember anyone talking about Reno as like a must-have going forward.
No.
He didn't stay in the public consciousness much further. Definitely seems like a fun character to experiment with. But
yeah, I think he's got some interesting utility, that's for sure. Yeah. Looking at our podcast polls, a little bit more love for Reno than with others. 4 people willing to, and this is just across 7 servers right now because it's just happening at the moment. 4 people willing to pity Lightning's BT on this. 19 people willing to pity Reno. 5 using gems. 58 tickets and 48 skips. That is as of this moment. So probably a few more onto that. So yeah, not the most popular character, not the least popular character by any means. But this Lufenia fight is considered to be fairly challenging, the first of 3 back-to-back that are very challenging. You fight 2 castle guardians. They're weird-looking castle tree things. They are weak to thunder. They are immune to HP disable, terror, and their own debuff. They start with the orb. So they start with their Lufenia orb. You can freeze the Lufenia orb by inflicting 3 debuffs. So that's fairly easy. You can bring a friend to Metatilion, freeze the debuff. The problem is that during various HP thresholds, just like with the Proteans, 80%, 50%, and 30%, they get this white mist that surrounds them. When they have that white mist available, they have huge brave damage reduction, HP damage reduction, and they do HP poison every time you act. So if you are not bringing HP regen to counteract that, you are going to kill lightning by taking all these actions. The only way to dispel the mist is to let them take a turn. Now, you can paralyze them, and that's fine. You can let them take a turn, and that's fine. You have to let them act. So delaying them with Metatilion, lightning, etc., that they'll just keep on the mist, and then you'll keep taking damage and keep not doing any damage. And so it's kind of juggling, making sure you have 3 debuffs on at all times, and making sure that you are dealing with this mist mechanic, which can be really annoying. That being said, you can use Lightning LDBT to pretty much stomp through it, especially if you pair her with a Brave Regen character like Charlotta. There was a run that I saw with Charlotta. Oh, who is it? I think it's from a Japanese-speaking Japanese player. And so they used Charlotta, Metatilion, Lightning, and then brought in a Kurosame, went through Kurosame's actions, made sure he had the 5 stacks of his debuff up, and then brought in a Metatilion, started deleting the turns after the mist was taken care of, and killed them. But it took 70 turns. So it's a challenging event. Again, DissidiaFFOO.com, it's going to be, I think there's going to be a lot of creative runs. We'll see what happens with the TCC challenge. I wouldn't stress about it too much. Don't hit your head on it. Have fun with it. But you might have to think. You might have to kind of take some time. So, what do you guys, Arrow? Kind of what's your thought process on these next 3 Lufenias? Are you worried about it? What happens if you hit a wall? What's your strategy moving forward?
I don't worry. If I can't beat this Lufenia, it's whatever. I mean, the high armor tokens are nice, but they are not necessary on the level that ingots felt like they were during Chaos. So, I mean, I missed some armor tokens and some tickets, I think, or, it's really not a big deal. I mean, what is it? Like, we got permanent events left and right in here. So people are worrying about like Kieran's event, but again, that's a permanent lost chapter. Just come back later if you have to with some characters that can handle it. Because it'll just become a lot easier over time with new characters in the roster and everything. Feel the same way with this and Rude's challenge and then the Sephiroth fight. I mean, there's a whole bunch of these fights that are kind of seen as very annoying, but I just don't stress over it. If I can't beat it, I can't beat it. I've skipped before. It didn't kill me. I'm still here. I'm still playing and I'm still having fun. I just play this game because I enjoy it. If you're not having fun and you find the fight stressful, definitely don't kill yourself over it. Even if you have synergy units, whatever, just let it go. Come back when the lost chapter is here and beat the loving crap out of it then.
I think that is a good way to approach it, Arrow. Kreese, any thoughts on this or upcoming content?
I'm in kind of the same boat. I will take my best shot at it, but if I cannot beat it, I will walk away from the content. I will not fight my way through this to try to get the complete. I'm not using all my high armor tokens as is, so I am willing to leave some on the table if necessary.
Yeah. Well, we do have some time, Kreese, so if you would like to go to podcast questions, and anytime, everybody, if you want to drop in a podcast question in our Discord, join our Discord, tccpodcast.com. I did fix the link, I believe, on Discord. Maybe I didn't. I don't know. I have to talk to our intern. Poto, our new our new TCC podcast intern, to help look on some of those stuff. But you can always ask a question in the podcast questions. I do remind you, as Chris is looking at questions, those of you who are watching, if you would like to be entered into a drawing for one of our Squex trading art figures, all you need to do is sub. And whether you're listening to this, watching on this, the best way you can do that is to sub to our Twitch channel, whether it's a Prime, Tier 1, whatever, gift sub. You will be entered in, and we'll do that for a couple weeks and draw a winner, and hopefully you'll have a Christmas or early New Year trading art in your arsenal. And I'll let whoever wins, I'll let them pick from the ones that I have left over. So. Yeah, so I won't send you there will be no RNG. I will let you pick from which one you would like, and so it will only, depending on however late we get into giving these away over the course of the next few months, the pickings might be slim. So yeah, Kreese, go ahead. What do we got?
Okay, first question from K9 word, which I'm probably pronouncing incorrectly.
No, that's correct.
Asks,
K9 word, yeah.
With the release of Kingdom Hearts in Brave Exvius, what do you think the timeline is until it makes an appearance in DFFOO? The timeline is never. That's the answer. So I don't even have to ask the second part of the question, because the timeline is Kingdom Hearts is never coming to DFFOO. There you go. Question answered.
Yeah, there has been Kingdom Hearts crossovers in Final Fantasy Record Keeper and in Brave Exvius, but Record Keeper had a history of doing a lot of different game crossovers in terms of Secret of Mana, other games from the Squex library. And Final Fantasy Brave Exvius has crossovers with Katy Perry, and Ariana Grande. Let's be serious. Potentially someday there might be a Sora Riku, whatever her name was. You won't see the Disney characters, but maybe the Final Fantasy characters. But yeah, there hasn't ever been a precedent for cross games. So yeah, I think you're pretty much just going to see main. Not that Riku, the other Riku. Kairi, excuse me. Yeah, Sora, Riku, Kairi. I think you're just going to see main title games and subtitle games from the Final Fantasy series in Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia. That's been the precedent. That doesn't mean it can change. We didn't think there would be multi-pulls for tickets either. So, Arrow, any thoughts?
No Kingdom Hearts, please. I'm okay with it being in the other games. It just doesn't make any sense here. That's where I'm going to leave it.
All right. Thank you for your question, K9 word.
Okay. Mistleton asks, would the panelists approve of a Lightning player in co-op who hogs the maximum turns possible because of the display of skill, or get annoyed due to a lack of other players' participation in co-op? If the other player is not wasting time and they're just going through skills quickly and they're getting through the co-op fast, I have no problem with someone just going, okay, I'm just going to burst through this. I'm going to just burn through and take all the turns to get through this co-op fast. I have no problem with that. If a person is dragging their feet and going really slow through every single turn, then I have a problem with them deciding to hog turns. If they're taking like 10 seconds per turn. That's my issue with when someone decides to be a turn hog.
Arrow?
I'm with Kreese. You guys know I rant all the time about turn stealers who take 20 seconds between their turns. I hate that. But if you are a turn hog and you are quick, go ahead. I understand some people are on books. Maybe you are. And if you know you can do it and under a minute, you go ahead and take all the turns you need to win that co-op for me in a minute, because I'm probably spamming a book of my own too. Thank you, person, if you're doing that. But I hate you. I hate you a lot if you're waiting 20 seconds and you're stealing turns. There you go.
Yeah, It doesn't bother me. I would, because I was playing Vincent the entire time when I could, and then every once in a while, towards the end, I haven't done it here in a while since I got my max score, but towards the end, I was, having to bring lightning because it was like, non-MLB Ragin and 35 only, Rydia, or, I don't remember who else was in that. Terrible, like a 35 EX only Zach or something, and like, oh crap, I gotta play lightning so we don't die, and yeah, that kind of annoys me. But no, I don't care. Burst first turn, like you said, like Crease and Arrow said, just don't take 30 seconds between every action. Press buttons, and if you're gonna do it, then don't give me a turn because I'll just take a nap. That's what I really really don't like when you go and then other players are like sleeping, and because obviously people get upset with you if because somebody presses burst first turn and then it's their action and they're like went up to the bathroom or something. Like, yeah, I don't know. So it goes. Next question.
Next question is from Inkwelder. What would each of the co-hosts do if they found... Have we answered this one before? I feel like we have. What would each of the co-hosts do if they found themselves at 500 G tokens on a banner with no LD or BT? To answer this question, I am never going to pity a BT again. After doing it for Arden, I've decided to swear off BT LD pity because that's happened before. I went 500 G tokens with no LD or BT. When I got to that point, I switched to tickets. That is what I did. I was in a practical situation where that happened.
Yeah.
And I went until I got one of them, and then pitied the other.
Yeah. Arrow?
So wait, the question said that if it didn't have an LD in a burst, or if it did?
What would each of the co-hosts do if they found themselves at 500 G tokens on a banner with no LD or BT? As in,
wow.
You were pulling, you did not get the BT weapon or the LD weapon that is on the banner.
Oh, wow. I hope that doesn't happen to me. I have not went to pity for a burst, and the only one I'll do it for is my man Furion, but hopefully he does not treat me that way. I'm going to be very, very disappointed in him. But let's say you're very close to your burst token count, and maybe at that point you might want to just grab the LD and just cut your losses, grab a book, and go get the burst. I mean, that's probably what I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with Crease. I'm not going to be pitying any other, to my knowledge, any other BTs. I am saving tokens for Cloud. I did not. I just did my pulls for Reno. I got Reno's kit. So I have not gotten Lightning's BT. I'm going to skip it. That's fine. Probably shouldn't. I won't need it anyway. And I don't particularly like using Lightning. But I really do want Cloud's burst. I just think it's really cool. He's one of my favorite characters. I really want Paladin Cecil. So I'm planning to use tokens for those two. And then moving forward, I don't think there's another must-have burst for me until maybe there's another character that I really like, would be like Yuna or, Vincent. I mean, characters that don't necessarily even have bursts at this point. So I should be safe for a while. But yeah, I would suggest not getting into that position. But right, if you get to 300 tokens and don't have the EX or the burst, or the LD, excuse me, if you get to 300 tokens and don't have the LD or the EX, I think that's a time you go to tickets and try to grab one or the other. Or hopefully you have some EX tokens and you can use EX tokens. Good question, though. Don't pity bursts. I think that's unless you have a million gems.
The answer is do not pity bursts.
If you have our gem count or lower, you shouldn't be pitying bursts. If you have Inkwelder's gem count, you can pity bursts. You can do whatever the hell you want. And he did. He might have to pity Lightning's burst, so we'll see. He's not on right now, but he is probably pulling for Lightning right now. And he said he would pity her burst if he has to.
This will be a quick question. Final ASIM asks if there won't be a Square Enix official stream this month and they'll only do an in-game notice, will the TCC people give us a semi-official semi-DFFOO official stream like we did last time. There was no official stream. We can consider it. We'll have to look at our schedules to determine when we'll be available and if we'll be available that night.
Yeah,
but we might be able to make that work.
We might actually. That might actually really work out well for us because Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve fall on Thursday night. So we will likely take 2 weeks off. Not having a podcast on Thursday, I all of you will live, I'm sure. I appreciate your support. It's been a long time since I don't even know the last time we took a week off. We did the casual stream the day before, but we still had an episode that week a couple weeks ago. But it will have been a long time since we took a week off, let alone 2 weeks in a row. That would have been like early days. But with Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve falling on a Thursday night, that will, hinder us doing a podcast live, but that might give us an opportunity then to do something on Monday night if we get the announcement, or Tuesday, the week after Christmas. So, we'll stay tuned, join our Discord, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. I shoot announcements out on YouTube. I shoot announcements on Facebook, Twitter, and our Discord. So you'll be up to date on that as well. So Evil Kong was asking, how many tickets did that cost me? Did anybody see exactly how many tickets that was?
No, I wasn't watching.
I got Reno's EX on the free pull, so that's good. And I believe I started with 597, and I have 477, so that cost me 120 tickets for the LD. I did not get his 35, so I'll have to go back in and get that. And I did not get Lightning's Burst, but 120 tickets for an LD and an EX on a new character. I am not going to complain. Arrow and Crease. Arrow, did you do your free pull yet?
I did, and it was a free Reno 15. Now, guys, I had 150 tickets, so I decided I would try. I think it's a cool kit, and I like to make it work. So, and I need more utility characters that can paralyze and do crazy shit. So I got Lightning Burst, like 10 tickets, and I hate her so much. And then I got Rosa EX, about 50 tickets, and then I got a couple of Reno EXs, about a tickets. So I decided it's okay. I can go to Gems and pity up for the LD if I need to. I go in 20K and I'm good to go. But man, I'm so annoyed I got a Lightning Burst along the way. I might just sell that sucker off.
Crease, did you do your free pulls?
I did my free pull. I got garbage. I think I got like a Leo 15 on the free pull. I did about 150 tickets and got some Reno 15s, some Reno 35s. I finally got a General Leo EX. It only took me multiple banners that Leo was on to get his EX. But nothing for Reno beyond 15s and 35s. And that's where I'm cutting it off.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting some redhead vibes going on here in the cutscenes for Reno's Reno's events. Why is he talking to all the redheaded characters? Are they the outcasts? My wife is redhead, so. We'll do a couple more questions, Crease.
Yeah, we'll try to clean out the questions channel tonight.
Yeah, why not?
Yoshi Pasta asks, with Kam'lanaut's LC and banner dropping, it looks like he dropped at a bad time due to the must-haves this month. Yoshi Pasta specifically referring to Lightning and Rude. If the hype characters weren't in the same month, would people have considered polling for him? I personally would have skipped Kam'lanaut either way. I don't really care for his kit or his character. I skipped him the first time around, and I was probably going to skip him this time around either way. The only reason I even built him a little bit this time around is because I got his 15, his 35, and his EX on the free pull. So I at least built him up enough to put a book into his weapons. And that's the only reason I even invested anything in him this time, was I got almost a full kit from just the free pull this time. I just don't really care for his kit. Maybe others would have liked him more if he hadn't been surrounded by more exciting characters. Arrow, what are your thoughts?
I still think people would have skipped him. He's just not somebody anyone would have been excited about at any time. It happens, certain characters are going to be much more exciting than others to a majority of players. So, unfortunately, Kam'lanaut falls into the latter camp where people wouldn't care no matter when he came.
Yeah, first of all, Resfoina, thank you for the raid. I hope your stream went well. I won't ask how your polls go. I know you will be sharing those on... I will ask, were you doing a poll battle? Or are you doing a poll battle? Res? Everybody check out Resfoina. You all know her. I mean, she's been on the show before.
Camel
But,
toe.
yes, camel toe. No, live polls with tickets. Okay, so make sure you check out Rez's video when that comes on. And you can see, if you're watching live, you can see my screen on top and Mino's screen on the bottom there. He is doing the... are you doing the Lufenia? He's doing either the Cosmos or the Lufenia. He might be doing the Lufenia. So actually, I'll as we're talking about this, let me readjust this a little bit and put his screen a little bit bigger so you can see it. If he's doing the Lufenia, because I'm not there, obviously, talking about the show. So yeah, I don't know what that is. We're having fun with widgets. Welcome to the Crystal Chronicles. Fun with widgets. There we go. But yes, we talked about it a little bit earlier about the, would people be pulling on Kam'lanaut if he wasn't surrounded by hyped characters? I don't think so. Again, I think he's not very popular as a character. The game is not the most popular of the franchise, and I think, I think people just aren't hot on the debuff characters. I've said that before. So, yeah, good question though. Obviously. For those of you listening at home, assuming this is this is Lufenia, because there is Lufenia Orb that Mino is running. Mino is using Shantoto, Ragin, Lightning, and Metatilian with a Leviathan summon. So friend of Metatilian to get those extra debuffs on, although I think he already has the debuff frozen with Shantoto, so that's not an issue. Ragin and Shantoto can paralyze. Lightning's obviously bringing damage, and I think he does have Lightning's burst. So he should be able to do it with this team. I think this is a doable team. He's already frozen the orbs. All right, Kreese, any other questions?
We got more questions. I'm going to keep going a little longer. Meow asks, what would be the lowest level of power the hosts would settle for in order to get a favorite character released as soon as possible? For example, a third tactics character, Riku or Red 13, etc., released at Sarah LD power level. Would that be okay? Would you still pull even if the character was below average power or strength? I mean, the thing is, we already know we are not going to be getting any more global first, so anything announced now, it would be being released in Japan, which means we won't be seeing them for a very long time, sadly. I get the feeling that anything that was be released, the hype would be way, way, way down by the time it got to us. So even if we got excited for it, the hype would be dead by the time it reached us in, what would it be, like 6 months? Well, I guess closer to 5 months now. So yeah, I don't know if that would be sufficient. They'd have to be a viable character for most of the global playing community to really care. Right, Arrow?
Personally speaking, I have pulled on what are considered weak characters before. If it was a favorite, I don't care. They can be the worst character in the game. I'm going to pull for them because they're a favorite. Favorites always come first, no matter their power level.
Yeah, right. I agree. I mean, I have my list of 20 favorite characters. Resfoina wishes you a happy birthday, Arrow. I'm going to pull on my favorites regardless. I don't care what their kits are. I don't care if they're powerful or not. I've had a fully purple Yuna since Yuna's been able to be purple. I just spent a lot of gems on her EX. Yuna's kind of crap, right? So it's not been something that I've been afraid to spend resources on. Beatrix is coming back. She is a favorite of mine. I'm going to get her LD. Sephiroth is a favorite of mine. I'm going to get his LD. I'm not going to be pitying all my favorites bursts, but there's a couple. Obviously, Squall I was willing to pity. Paladin Cecil I'm willing to pity as well. But I'll have tokens by then, so I do have tokens already. But I should have tokens for Cloud and Paladin Cecil, so not too worried about that. Yeah.
Okay, this question kind of goes back to one that we already answered, but I'm going to repeat it. Kazakazai asks, what would you exchange with G tokens if you got your BT on the pity poll? So I assume what this means is you decided to go for BT pity, and then presume you got the LD, and I'm assuming also EX already. So what would you spend your 500 G tokens on? Probably just another BT token at that point to get the extra BT tokens. That's what I would do.
Yeah, that's probably the best thing to do, right?
The only other options are to either get power stones, another LD to save power stones, or just buy a lot of books. Or a lot of red books, which at this point you should have plenty of books unless you're a brand new player.
Yeah.
Another BT to sell for BT tokens down the line is probably the best way to spend it. However, I still recommend against pitying BTs unless you really, really want to.
Arrow, any thoughts on that?
Do the same thing you guys were talking about. It's probably the most useful thing for a veteran player to do.
If you're following along at home, Mino has gotten rid of the orb. They're down below that threshold. No mist at the moment. One is at 70%. This is going to be a big help for us. The fact that we can see the thresholds. I'm pointing like you can see me pointing at the screen. You can't see me pointing at this screen. I need like a laser pointer. But the fact that we can see the HP thresholds with the numbers is super important. I'm auto battling this. That's not the most ideal thing. Because then we know when that mist is going to hit and we can act a little bit more appropriately. So Zidane LDBT. That will be the next one for me. Zidane would be a favorite.
Okay.
Definitely.
Black Unicorn asks, what do you consider someone that is going to pull for Sephiroth? I'm guessing LDBT. I mean, if Sephiroth's a favorite, go for it.
Let me
also,
see.
the 2-week LDBT is always a good investment. Getting the LD will help.
I'm going to pull for Sephiroth. Jin Lee's going to pull for Sephiroth. Jay Dota's going to pull for Sephiroth. Black Cloud, I'm not sure that. I don't think Black Cloud's going to pull. Maybe for Sephiroth. I'm pretty sure Xeno's going to pull for Sephiroth. Yep, Black Cloud's going to pull for Sephiroth. I got... I know Arrow's not going to pull for Sephiroth. Resfoina's going to pull for Sephiroth. So... a lot of pities.
Mino says the Smash commercial.
Mino, the Smash commercial. If you have not, go make sure you watch that. The preview for Sephiroth in Smash Brothers Ultimate. Really cool little intro. That's really cool. Yeah, but Sephiroth's 2-week synergy. He does have that gravity effect. So. He's not complete trash. He is not great. Lonnie's on the fence, wants Cloud more than Sephiroth. I think that's probably a better investment in the long run. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with pulling for characters. Is Sephiroth going to be as high? I mean, Sephiroth's going to be hyped because it's Sephiroth. People like Sephiroth. But is he going to be hyped because he's this super powerhouse like Noctis, Arden, and... Lightning were not in the same way, right? They're a little bit different characters. So, yeah.
I think we'll call it for questions there.
All right.
We'll save the rest for next week or another time.
Cool.
And we'll save. Actually, no. Let's answer this one.
Okay, one more.
Well, we kind of answered this before at the beginning of the show, anyways. But Sism asked about thoughts on Sephiroth and Smash. I think we're all excited about it. Right? I'm excited about it. Mark's excited about it.
Super excited.
Dude, that video was so hype. It made me want to play Smash.
Yeah.
I'm
Arrow's excited about it. We're all excited about it.
Yeah.
I was going to save it for the post show, but we already spoke about it, so we might as well just answer it now.
Okay. Go ahead.
And I think we'll just leave it there. There's still one or two more questions, but we can leave them for another time.
That sounds good. Thank you, Chris. Again, you can go to podcast questions and talk about what you want to talk about. We will be streaming next week, next Thursday, as normal. We'll talk about this fight. We will talk about the other content we're going to get. We're going to have the HaateXIII event, Sephiroth event, Dimensions and Entropy Tier 18. All of that's going to be here on the 16th, so we're going to have a lot to talk about next week. I'll give you my review of Reno, as I did pull him. And then we will take a week off. But yes, if you would like to be in the running for one of these beautiful play arts or trading arts figures, DissidiaFFOO figures, sub to our channel, and we will enter you into that drawing. There will be other ways to do that as well in the future. But this is the first run. Just as a thank you to our subs, I want to ship one of these out to one of our subs at random. So just sub, whether it's a Amazon Prime, a Tier 1, etc., gift sub, you will be entered in, and one of you will be randomly chosen, and if I can send it to you through the mail, it will be at your house. So, but thank you. This has been episode 131 of the Crystal Chronicles, recorded on this 10th of December, 2020. So yes, you will know my return address. Yeah, okay. Curses! Oh no! I'll send it through a proxy. And for myself, Mark, for Kreese, for Arrow, wishing you all the best. Go check out all of our friends, Resfoina, Lonnie, Black Nero. There's been a few others in here. Jin Lee hanging out with us today. So give them all love, and a shout out to our new intern, Poto Cedar. Is the new Crystal Chronicles intern, so show him some love. He's going to do some work for us, and appreciate that, and all of you who do so many great things to help our community and the DissidiaFFOO community. Stick around. We will continue to stream. Mino is doing the Lufenia, and so we'll talk a little bit more about that. So, all right, until next time, next week at Thursday, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, this has been Mark for the Crystal Chronicles. We'll see you.